TikTok is always dark, but we'll see. Hi, everyone. Hello, Mr. Professor. How are you? Hello, Miss Illinois Sanctuary. Illinois Sanctuary. TJ Joe. Hello, TJ Joe. Luatoshe Joe. You need to get to your homework. Hello, finest Shandy. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody. I'm hoping that. TJ, I can hear myself on your device. Can you put it on mute, please? At least I should be happy that I have a child who supports his mother, right? Hi, TikTok family. Hi, everybody. Hello, Omolade, Omola. I don't know if it's a man or woman. Berry Drops, Yawalaji. I love that username. Berry Drops, Yawala. Hey, listen, I ain't mad at you. Welcome in, welcome in. Hey, Facebook and YouTube family. Y'all say hello because I can see y'all on Facebook and YouTube. So y'all need to say hello. I need that to be that to say hello. I feel there. I might check out YouTube at the Facebook. I should I let you subscribe me. My stomach has just been doing its own thing all day. I'm like Musi Jelly. I think I ate so much today. But anyway, hi everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome in. Say hello when you come in. Let's talk immigration, y'all. I hope y'all have had a wonderful, wonderful week so far. The week, I already say it, but I think the week usually goes by. Hello, Siri. I love and learn from your videos. I'm glad. Hi, Miss Mary. How are you? I'm glad that you do. That's the whole point. And if you do, then that makes me happy. TJ made. I made your egusi already, but post office wants to deliver. Are you serious? You're kidding, right? Address Lemmy. That's what I need to do. But really, did you really have? And then Antilamide, his aunt already made him a good sister. Y'all just really making it look like the kid is a good starved, which he is, but he's surviving. Because other stuff, no. Okay. She really is serious. She actually made TJ, look at all your aunties making your igusi. Igusi, that's what he calls it. T-boy. Got a whole lot of igusi. Appreciate it. It says appreciate it. Eshegonio. It doesn't still make any difference because I ain't still gonna make it. I ain't gonna make it. You don't like it? Too bad. Come get him. I'm doing it. But anyway, hi everyone. This is Attorney immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. Hello, Miss Khadija. Queen Khadija, how are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are just joining us for the first time, you've never, you just stumbled upon this video, like, okay, who is this lady? What is she talking about? We come together as immigrants every Tuesday and Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone. Every other time zone, I have no idea. Y'all just gonna have to figure that out. I don't know. But anyway, we talk all things immigration. This is a safe space for us immigrants, especially during this time. Like everything, looks like you wake up and it's one policy or one executive order or one lawsuit, something, or USCIS comes up with something. There's always one thing or the other. So we come together and just encourage one another. We share testimonies of people getting their green cards, people getting approval notices on their cases, encourage those who are waiting and trusting God for positive news and breakthroughs and all that. So and we have zero tolerance for negativity. So if you're a troll, just take it with you. And so I am based in Alabama, but I represent immigration clients in all 50 states. So it doesn't matter what states you are residing in, we can represent you. Because immigration is federal practice, so an immigration attorney can represent you regardless of the state you're in and regardless of the state they are located in, as long as it's the case stamp that they take and all that. So that's that. And if you need to contact us, contact information is 334-341-4475. visit our website at 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕, info@𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓.com. But for real, find a Shandy. As she gone, I really do appreciate that. I mean, I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised. Just like Miss Ennis actually would just send me. We're talking to Miss Ennis. I'm not saying this so you can don't send me anything. But you would think I was the only one that was eating that chinchi. No, it was two of us. And guess the other person. I'm not mentioning names. Just guess. But yeah. Shari, moms, I'm telling you, mothers, once you have kids, your life is not yours anymore. That's whatever you own is not yours. No, where, how? Please, just leave it alone. Just accept it and be thankful. Maybe one day you will get it back, but anyway. So once again, if you need to contact our office, 334-341-4475. I know I usually rush through that. Visit us, follow us, subscribe, share, like at Olaleye Immigration and social media platforms. Let's talk immigration, y'all. It's a whole lot going on. There's some updates that I've received between update session on Tuesday and today. Sunshine did well today. Thank you. Really, really proud of him. Are you talking about my son or your son? Because they're making waves and doing great things. But he and his team won. What is it called again? The track and field, the JV district championship, right? Okay. Track and field junior varsity district championship. Really, really proud. Really proud. I was finally able to make it to the championship game yesterday, and so work was on hold. Thank you. Work was on hold, but it was hot. I'm telling you, things to do for your kids. It was hot. I'm dark enough. I don't need a dish. I don't need to be tan. I already have all the tan that God can give me. Let me go on to tan in June, tan in law. But it was worth it. We just thank God. We thank God. Let's talk immigration, y'all. So, like I said, there were some updates that between Tuesday and today, but I have not confirmed. So we either would put it in a post, or if there's no confirmation between now and the next live, or if there's any confirmation, you get updates. So thank you. Hello, Mr. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. So there's just a whole lot going on. I just don't want to say something that it may not be, but most likely because they come up with all kind of stuff. But this evening, what we're talking about, let's talk immigration. Get ready to be interviewed. That's what we're talking about tonight. Get ready to be interviewed. So what does that mean? That's what we're going to talk about. So if you're joining us for the first time, I get to questions at the end of a topic we want to discuss. So just put your questions in the comment section, and we'll try to get to as many questions as possible. Get ready to be interviewed. What am I talking about? What I'm talking about is if you have a green card application that you have filed, get ready to have an interview scheduled. So it used to be under the Biden administration that we could expect, because they actually announced that they were going to be waiving interviews if you had submitted sufficient bona fide evidence in your case. Most of the time, non-marriage I-485 applications were not scheduled for interview. So if you're based on asylum, if you're based on employment, they weren't actually scheduled for interview. But now, everyone, regardless of the basis of your green card, expect to be scheduled for interview if you've got a pending I-485 application. If you have an I-130 standalone by itself, that's also something you can expect to have an interview on. But for I-485, 2 different officers now and 2 different interviews that I've had in the last 30 days have confirmed that is what they are all required to do now. They're required to call in people for interview. And they're also required to go through your I-485 application with you and ask you, when I tell you that, and ready, if you have to go to work the day your interview is scheduled for, I would tell you, don't even bother. Be ready to have the whole day at least half your day at USCIS office. And if you are living in the states where there's so many immigrants where they constantly are busy, like Baltimore, like, Houston, Dallas, Atlanta, those offices that where, a whole lot of immigrants are. So you're going to have to wait before you're called. And then your interview may last much longer because of the requirements now. For those, for instance, if you had an I-130 that was already approved, like, because I have some clients where, they filed an I-130, but a standalone I-130, or maybe for whatever reason, I-485 was denied. And so they decided, okay, let's do the I-130, or an I-130 has just been approved by itself. And that happened a lot under the Biden administration. If that's the case with you, where you've got an approved I-130, you have an I-485 that's just pending an approval, what we are seeing now, for instance, I've got three clients that I can think of off the top of my head, all approved I-130s, have pending, and then we filed I-485s after the I-130s were approved. Two I-130s, we filed two cases, we filed I-485 after the approval of the I-130. The third case we actually filed concurrently, but the I-130 was approved on its own, no interview, nothing, no RFE, nothing was approved. But the I-485 was not approved, and we made inquiries that what's going on. All three cases now have been scheduled for an interview. So including the two where the I-130s were filed on their own, and then subsequently the I-485s were filed. All three of them have not been scheduled for an interview. So my point in that is, it doesn't matter if you have an I-130 that you filed that has been approved by USCIS, because generally the requirement to have an interview was generally attached to your I-130, because that's what you have to prove. That's the petition that a good faith marriage bona fide evidence it's tied to. The bona fide evidence requirement is not tied to I-485. It's tied to the I-130, because that's the basis of the relationship itself. And once that is approved, you could expect an approval of the I-485 without any further interview and all that. What we're seeing now is, because USCIS officers are required to interview not just your spouse and you, but also to interview and ask you questions on your I-485, ask you all those yes, no questions, statement, the statements on those on the I-485 application. They are now required to ask you those questions under oath. So not only are you going to spend more time, but you're now going to make sure that you review your answers, especially those yes, no questions. If there's any question that requires an explanation, you are required to include an explanation, on the last page, or if you need additional sheets of paper, then you've got to put them, attach it to your application. But if there's any if there's any correction that you have to make, when you are called for an interview, you have an opportunity to make that correction, with the understanding that those questions are already questions you've already checked your answers to when you submitted your application, right? Yes. But they're not required to ask you those questions under oath, and you're either going to confirm your selection or give an explanation or have an opportunity to amend your answers. The reason being, the interview on Tuesday, reason being that you're trying to use that and trying to compare, they're going to compare your responses, because that's going to be seen as a sworn statement. It's going to be compared to any information you have provided, either in a prior application, either in your non-immigrant visa application. And if anything comes up as contradicting what you had provided, they're also going to, this is what he said. They're also going to compare your answers to anything regarding your social media activities. This is what we see going on. This is not to alarm you. This is just for you to be aware, so that when you submit your application or you are called for an interview, you are preparing yourself to know you're going to be asked all those questions. Make sure that there's nothing that you have answered or checked that is going to contradict any information that you had previously provided to USCIS. That's just what needs to be done. So get ready to be interviewed. There is now, in spite of this being the new policy that they have to follow, funny thing is, and knock on wood, I-751s that we're filing or that have been filed and pending, we're seeing that we're not getting interviews scheduled on the I-751 petitions. We're actually getting those approved without interviews. Knock on wood again. I'm not jinxing, but so I'm not sure what the rationale is for them, but we're seeing that those are getting approved without interviews. But the I-485s are going to be scheduled for interviews. Even if you have an I-130 that's been approved, you expect that you're going to have an interview scheduled, and you're going to be asked all your questions, the responses you gave, to confirm those responses again and on the oath, because they're going to use it to see if there's any reason to allege any fraudulent or misrepresentation or whatever the case may be. So if you get called for an interview, even if you submitted a very airtight, really, really credible case, one of the 3 cases I'm talking about, they've got 2 kids, 2 biological children. But why? It's going to be like, okay, but they have to ask all green card applicants all the questions on your I-485. And the funny thing is, we already have enough backlogs, right? We already have enough of that. And if you're going to task immigration officers with even much more responsibilities such as this, because this is going to be time consuming. It was something that should have taken on Tuesday, something that should have, what I would call a pretty straightforward case that should have taken at most maybe 20, 30 minutes. We were there an hour, 17 minutes, or an hour, 15 minutes, an hour, 16 minutes, and not 17 minutes, put it that way. The longest portion being the I-485. I was like, okay, and that's why for me, it's like, I just wanted to know what was going on. And we're blessed enough to have someone who took time to explain, like, hey, listen, this is what we're being told to do. It was almost like you can tell that, he found it redundant, but this is what he's supposed to do to keep his job. So we're seeing a whole lot of that. And then they're laying people off, but you're laying people off, claiming government efficiency, but then you're asking them to do even much more. You take on even much more responsibilities. That's going to now delay the process. So it's almost like they're trying to find everything possible to frustrate immigrants. But we ain't going to be frustrated. I'm not filing, Lonnie. Because if it's going to take a while, that's okay. That's fine. We'll continue to file it and put the rest in God's hands. So yes, that's what we're seeing. Don't be alarmed if you get scheduled for an interview, especially for those who had I-130s that were already approved, and you're thinking, okay, the I-485 is just going to be approved. No, they're actually going to probably call you in to ask you all those questions for you to verify and confirm that those are your responses, just because they're trying to find something to just allege against you. So prepare yourself, go through your information. For instance, there is sometimes when I have a consultation, especially if someone is trying to get a second opinion, or they had they had someone represent them in the past and they're trying to file a new case, and they come and they say, hey, we want you to represent us and all, yada, yada, yada. And I ask, okay, can I have a copy of your file? And they tell me, well, we were never given a copy. Now, in fairness to my colleagues, I know there's some people that just never bothered to download a copy of their file. The reason I know is because someone that we were represented, and then they converted to a VAWA case, and then the new attorney had reached out to us and say, hey, the client says they never got a copy of the file. Like, there's no client, and I would say that I'll take that to the bank and cash a whole lot of money with it. No client of mine is going to say they were never given a copy of their file. It's just impossible. Why? Because by default, and everyone who have a lot of clients on here, they will tell you within 48 hours of your case being sent out to USCIS, you will definitely, without fail, get a link, an email directly from me. That one, everyone has their own. Everyone has, a own task in my firm. But when it comes to that, because they ain't nobody can say, no, they didn't send it to me. No, because it's coming from me, and I have have receipts, as they say. So you would get an email from me within 48 down to postage. Thank you. You get an email with your link to download your file, a link to track the package. And so when I emailed the attorney, like, that's incorrect. She did get a copy of her file, and she did get the tracking. And here is the email. And I copied her, like, but you said you didn't get a copy. Oh, she's there. No, you ain't gonna say. Don't do that. Don't do that. So I know that some people she just probably didn't even just ignored it. But the whole point is so you can have a copy of your file. But in fairness to some clients, some people just never were given a copy of their file. For me, that just doesn't make any sense. So if you are in a situation where you have a pending case, go through. A lot of attorneys use portals. We use Dropbox. It makes it a lot easier for me. Straightforward, because a lot of people won't bother logging in something. But in this situation, if I send you an email, I can always pull back the email and say, hey, you will send to you on this day with your tracking information. So be sure you have downloaded and saved a copy of your file for yourself. So at least you know what was sent in. And I don't have any clients who's going to say, I don't know what they sent in, because before we send any information in, be any form or any affidavit for a client, before we send that in, you are going to have a chance to review your information, because that's information you're giving us. We cannot just send anything in without you verifying the accuracy of the facts contained in your forms or affidavit. So you get a chance to review it then. And then once it's sent out, you get a copy of everything. And so everything is done in emails. I don't do corrections over the phone, because I love receipts. It's going to be in black and white. So if you come back and like, no, because I can't record. I mean, nobody bothers to record, but I can show you the email where you said, no, that's what you told us, black and white, ain't gonna lie. So be sure you have a copy of your file, review your information. And if there's anything that needs to be corrected, make notes of that, so that when you get, nobody's above errors. We make errors as well. But when you get to your interview, just you're ready to tell the officer that, no, that wasn't in the. And for me, especially if a correction that needs to be made on the form, even though it may not have been our fault in my firm, if I know that correction may backfire against my client, where it may become an issue where, hey, Miss Abena, where they may make it an issue, like, okay, maybe the person was trying to misrepresent. I just say, hey, officer, that was our fault. The client told us this, but it was an oversight on our side, on our part. So that's our. Listen, you ain't gonna tell me it was not my fault or not. I'm singing it for my client. I am. What do you want to do? So that's why, just make sure you review everything, but be ready. You're going to be interviewed. That's what we're seeing now. And, that's just going to apply to everybody. All right. And that's all you heard, people. Hope that helps some. And once we confirm the new updates, we would let you guys know what those updates are. All right. Let's get to questions, as many as we can possibly take. Responses to questions are general information, nothing specific to your case. Baby boy, what are you eating? You still have some eggs? Hello, Mr. Dosmo. How are you? How have you been? I haven't seen you forever. Hello, Mr. Gabriel. I hope you had a blessed day. Miss Mary. Hello, Mr. Peter. How are you? See. Okay, good to know. Hi, Miss Toya. My VAR renewal work permit was delivered to USCIS February 27, and up to now, no receipt. How long should I wait to read? I've said it before. Let me say it loud and clear. Thank you. Hear me when I tell you. For whatever reason, VAWA-related cases, it's taking them forever to send receipt notices, Miss Toya. It's nothing you did. It's taking. That's why I cannot imagine. I just can't. It's not something I can imagine. Mailing anything to USCIS without sending it through trackable mail. I don't care how much it is. I don't care if the post office is 200 miles away from where you live. Please do not just drop something in the mail to USCIS without evidence that it was delivered. Because that's, I can't even tell you how many times having proof of delivery has been the saving grace, quote unquote, when we file a motion to reopen or a motion to reconsider or wrongful or challenge or do a service request to reopen based on their error. So VAR related cases, we're just getting notices of cases that we filed end of January, first week in February this week. So just to put things in perspective for you. So it's taking no less than 50 to 60 days to get receipt notices relating to anything VAWA, the VAWA petition, your work authorization based on, even if it's a C9, but it's still linked to your VAWA case. Whatever it is that you send to the Nebraska Service Center, the address where you file your VAWA related applications, be ready to just be, so February that you sent it, you'll probably get it sometime next week or in 2 weeks. So it's not for, I don't know what happened, but that's what we're seeing. My 485 interview was canceled and sent RFU for medical examination. I'm willing they waive my interview. Is that it is possible. It is possible that they approved your congratulations. It's possible. And I'll use Miss Christiana, and she's right here. I'll use Miss Christiana as an example. Yes, I just told you that they're going to call you for an interview, yada, yada, yada. But if God says you're not going to have an interview, there's nothing they can do. If God says, we're just going to waive this, the Bible says the heart of the king is in his hands. Just like a river, he turns whichever direction he wills. The fact that somebody says they're going to do something, that doesn't trump what, no pun intended, what God is going to do. So Miss Christiana and the kids were scheduled for an interview. We were still fighting USCI. Said, okay, it's scheduling. Can you please just reschedule so we can move forward? And God decided, you know what? I'm just going to turn this thing around. We're even going to schedule the interview. The next thing we got was we ordered your new card. How do we go from where rescheduling to the right place to we ordered your new card? So if they canceled your interview and sent you already for medical, we're going to agree in faith that that's probably them saying, they're probably going to approve your case once they get the RFE sent to them. So it's possible. If someone is being sponsored for EB3 and is physically in the U.S. on F1, can it be a problem if she leaves the U.S. till green card is ready to avoid going back to school just to keep status? It won't be a problem. So as long as you have not accrued any unlawful presence and you haven't validated you haven't validated your status, if your employer indicated that you're going to adjust status, then what they're going to do now, while the case is still pending, they may see if that's going to be possible for them to notify USCIS that you're not going to be consular processing your case. But if it's too late, then what they're going to need to do is to file an I-824 to notify the embassy. So you can do that, but I would say generate information. Communicate that with your employer. Let them know what your plan is before you make any moves. And if you have a lawyer who's representing, because when it comes to EB3, the lawyer is representing the employer. But if you've got a lawyer who is willing to also talk to you and speak to them and let them know what your plan is before you leave, that's what I would say. Hey, Miss Collins from St. Kitts, thank you for joining in. Always appreciate that. Hello, Miss Christiana. I'm glad Miss Christina got her green card and her and the kids got her green card delivered today. I can only imagine how you felt, Miss Christiana. How was the feeling? Okay, I like to sign for that was a requirement that I told my assistant to put on there. I ain't gonna I'm gonna do that. According to divorce decree in Nigeria, is there any certification that my wife, who is a U.S. citizen, needs to attach to her divorce decree? And for me to take to the consulate in Lagos during my interview. I'm not sure what you mean by certification. She's the one who has had a divorce and the beneficiary from Nigeria. Did she have a divorce done in Nigeria? I mean, what is according to divorce decree in Nigeria? According to, I'm not sure I understand what you're asking me. Hello, Miss Giwa, how are you? Make sure the counselor will receive the divorce decree. Where is the divorce decree from? She came and had a court. Oh, she had a court with proceedings in the division. Why is your wife, who is a U.S. citizen living in the U.S., going back to Nigeria to have a divorce? She received the niece in absolute and it was certified. Doesn't still answer my question. Just want to know if there's any other certified document aside we need to have. Was here something of foreign affairs and well, if you're certifying all of that, then you're already indicating maybe there's something wrong with your document. But I still want to know why someone who's not domiciled in Nigeria is filing the divorce. But well, I don't think it matters at this point. Well, it matters because even if an I-130 is approved, and that's another thing, the fact that an I-130 is approved does not mean the embassy can question your divorce. And keep in mind, the embassy is the one where they actually confirm documents, and that's a liaison way they have agents to go confirm things in Lagos, Nigeria, Abuja, wherever it is, for on behalf of USCIS. So USCIS can approve an I-130. And you can get to the embassy and they'll tell you, we've seen this is based on what we've seen. We don't believe this is genuine. So, I never have had a divorce, by the way. She's my first and will be my last. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know, Mr. Peter. You repeated it twice. That's okay. Some of us have been divorced before. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes it's a blessing. Thank you, Jesus. But yeah. Okay. Laura Fumi, good evening. How are you? Any changes in N400 interview? What do you mean any changes in what way? Because her ex was in Nigeria. So was the ex the one who filed the divorce then? Hello, Mr. Elbow. Any update from your end? Anything? Mr. Peter, was the ex the one who filed the divorce? Then that would make more sense. Because that person is domiciled in Nigeria. The petitioner has to be domiciled. As long as the petitioner was domiciled in Nigeria, then she was one who filed. I don't know. Does she have a lawyer? Do you guys have a lawyer representing you? I mean, because it's very, very clear. The very first line of a decree says, at the time of the petition, the court is satisfied that the petitioner was domiciled in Nigeria. Domiciled in Nigeria means that's where your physical residency is, and that has become a big deal with USCIS, but I hope that won't be a problem. The one thing you have going for you, however, is Ibadan doesn't have online recordation for them to verify anything. So yeah. Okay. Hey, baby boy, I'll put your nothing bun cake in the fridge. Okay, let's see. I hope I'm not too late today. No, you're not. Okay. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, let's see. I'm trying not to miss anyone's question. That's my case. What's your case? What state are you in? My office is based in Alabama. Can you use parole paper to oversight? Can you use parole paper to oversight American? Huh? Okay. Hello, Ms. Akinpelu. How are you? Thank you, Layla. I appreciate that. I filed N400 last month and got okay. So what's your question? When can I put in for citizenship as a 10-year green card holder through VA? If you were married to a a citizen, if the abusive spouse was a citizen, 3 years after 3 years of 3 years of you having your green card, you can file 90 days before the 3rd-year anniversary. If the abusive spouse was a green card holder, then 5 years, you can file 90 days before the 5th-year anniversary. 5 years of you having your green card. Can I file for my parents during this time? Absolutely. Why not? If I become a citizen, do my children then become citizens if they're born and live abroad? No. Unless you have a child that's born after you become a citizen, but not ones already born here. If they were here with you and they had their green cards and under the age of 18, then they would acquire citizenship from you. We filed I-751 2 weeks late, totally an accident, and wrote an affidavit. What are the chances they deny based on what? If you included an affidavit to explain why it was filed late, most of the time they would accept it. Under previous administrations, you never used to be a big deal, and hopefully it will not be a big deal for you. Can I file for my papers who live in the U.S. during this time? The more reason why you should file for papers, so you have something to protect yourself. EB1A approved. Congratulations. Submitted my I-485. Got delivered 23rd, but no notification. That is fine. It's very early. Just like VAR cases, employment-based, I believe that we filed employment-based because I still have about 17 approved NIWs between 2023 and 24. Still waiting for a priority date to become current. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. It should be out by now, or maybe out. Let me even see, because I'm always on 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. You would think that, and my life depends on it. Just because I have so many cases are waiting. Okay, tomorrow is 11th, probably tomorrow, for them. So the ones we filed, and we are in April, the employment-based green card applications that we filed the first week of March, and first and second weeks of March, we're just getting the receipt notices this week. So if that helps you, so you're not alone in that. Can I file for a parent who lives in the U.S. during this time? I don't see why not. Thank you, Miss. I can trying to file for my N400, but I own business taxes, but up to date on my personal taxes, cannot file. You have to make sure you have a payment plan in place, because that's probably, you own the business. It's not like, yes, it's a legal entity on its own, but it belongs to you. So that's something you want to make sure you have a payment plan in place to file. Talking of payment plan, let me make a note. Thank you for bringing, because y'all, if you haven't paid up on your taxes, the 15th is coming up. Some of us have to pay the government. America, anyway. How long does it take for approval when filing for a child? Anything about how long processing time, go on USCIS.gov/processing time to see how long your particular application is going to take. How do we answer questions about validating terms of visa as an F1 overstay adjusting via marriage? You say yes. Have you ever validated terms of your yes? It's as simple as that. How do you answer? That's how you answer it. It's a yes or no question on the form. Talking of F1, and I think if you are an F1 student, the craziness that we've seen, especially this week, so many F1 students are getting emails of their visas being revoked. Okay, someone just the visas being revoked, and then even without the school's knowledge, and then when they notify their DSO pulls up their service and see that their service account has also been terminated. Some of my colleagues have actually started class action lawsuits. How that's going to turn out, we're yet to see. To be a safety net is to file a reinstatement, because if you don't do that, because you don't get a 60-day grace period with this kind of revocation, then you are looking at, accruing in lawful presence. Whether or not a reinstatement is going to work, it's more or less like challenging, like, okay, I didn't do anything, but because it contradicts itself. A reinstatement is saying, I violated the terms of my status, or I dropped out of school or whatever, but I'm asking for to be forgiven for that, whatever. That's usually what we do reinstatement for. But in cases where someone hasn't done anything, unless you've actually, but one thing I've seen, like the ones that I consider with this week, I've seen that all those cases, those students were charged with something, but only one out of all those cases that I've had so far this week was actually convicted of the crime. So that's understandable. However, the rest were not convicted. All those cases were dismissed. The most ridiculous one of them is, out of everything, is one that was actually his status was, his visa was revoked, service was canceled because of a traffic violation. That's the extent this administration is going. A traffic violation. We're talking to someone who got a speeding ticket, completely forgot that he hadn't paid it, and he was supposed to pay the fine, and so he got a warrant issued because he hadn't paid it. And that happens but when he went to the court, like, oh, I forgot, and he paid it, and the story, it was done. Traffic ticket, revoked his visa, terminated his service account. So that's what's going on right now. Is just, it's best to consult with the lawyer. So for instance, I need to know exactly what they were charged with, and then we can figure out if actually a reinstatement is going to help you. If it's best for you to just leave the country and apply for another visa stamp with a new I-20, which obviously there's a 50% chance that you may not get it approved. You just never know. But that's what's going on, just so everyone is aware. When filing for 10-year green card, can we both submit our documents? What do you mean we both submit the 10? Well, who's we? Can we travel to Dubai on this administration? I can answer questions about traveling. I applied for I-485 on September 2024. How long? USCIS processing times.gov. Okay, let's see. Let's go on Instagram. T. Okay. I think it was fine, Mr. Professor. How was yours? T-boy. We're getting to the homework. You need to review anything with you? Okay. Finance Jandy, I'm telling you too much. Hello, Miss Nilechi. How are you? Let's see. Got all these aunties baking a goosey. Hey, the other 11 became claim no veggie. In your economy, but in fairness, though, my mom sent me. When I tell you, my mom makes the best ogbono. Let's cosento feba me argue akmoye. Oh, Lord have mercy. If you eat my mom's ogbono, you are never eating anyone else's, bar none. I ain't even lying to you. I remember, and this is not just now. I remember growing up in Lagos then. My friend, who's still my friend to tomorrow, Tineke Falai, the same Olufalai's daughter, Tineke grew up. Y'all know Olufalai. Tineke grew up silver spoon in the mouth. He had a private chef and all that. Twinkle, I call her Twinkle. Twinkle will come. I don't know if she's here, but I'm probably going to send her. I'm just going to send her a text. Twinkle will come to our house in 1,000 on phone way. If I can, she will ask me, like, is your mom making a bono? I'm telling you, like, if someone had private chef in their house comes to eat your own mom's ogbono, then you know that. So my mom sent me some ogbono this week. I just got it this week. So we thank God for remember those. Yeah, our aunties to my bashi igusio, but we're fine. Thank you, Finest Sandy. Did y'all hear my voice? Hear my loud voice in that video? I mean, 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂💏. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can't take me to a sports game with my child in it. I could hear one of the moms says, because we come together like that's gotta be TJ's mom. Yeah. Who else would be shouting TJ like that? Would you take on a client for just marriage-based interview? No, I just don't do interview prep. Okay, let's see. Hello, Miss Pam. As she gone with the referral, I spoke with him Tuesday. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Hello, Miss Geraldine. How are you? I remember you did that for me. Finally, Shandy, they're about to lost in Canada without me. Mama Binu gone. For real. You didn't miss much, Miss Peggy. Okay, I knew a lot of traveling like teacher, but about Canada, I would take it very personal. For real. This time around, I'm not even playing with you. Claudia. Let's see. Down to posting receipts. Thank you. I try. I have copies of all of my documents and field forms. There we go. The truth out of the model witnesses. It's just standard. Like you gotta have it. Hello, Miss Fumi. How are you? What can I do when my work authorization card is mistaken in the age section? What do you mean it's mistaken? That your date of birth is wrong on your work authorization card? If that's your question, was it based on information that you gave USCIS or based on their error? EB1A approved in January, submitted. That's the same person that asked me. That's the same person. Okay, I already answered that question. Hello, Mr. 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕. How are you? Official man. Thank you. Let's see. Is I-45 VAL office the same as I-45 marriage-based office? I'm not sure I understand that question, Ms. Geraldine, but if you're talking about as it relates to interviews, yes, interviews are going to be conducted in the field offices, which is just still the field office, whether it's a regular marriage case or VAL-related case. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, but I'm not understanding what you mean. I-45 VAL office and regular office. Can citizens with criminal records file I-130 for their spouse? You can, as long as that crime does not involve any offense listed under the Adam Walsh Act, which are sexual offenses. I have a cousin with a master's degree in robotics engineering from the UK, but lives in Nigeria right now. Please, can he apply for EB2? He can consult with an attorney to find out. Just having a master's degree is not just, that's the first step, but there's a whole lot that goes into EB2. If someone is scheduled for an interview and the spouse does not want to show up, can he file to reschedule the interview while he files for VAL? What we usually, first the person needs to speak to an attorney. The route to go would probably be either asked to have that interview canceled, have the attorney send what we call an abeyance letter to the field office in advance, or if it's if it's less than a few days, you can attend and take the letter in person, and then you've got 30 days to file the VAL case from them. But I think it's just best for you to talk to a lawyer. What's the way forward for those affected by F1? That's what I just talked about. We'll talk more about it as we get more information. Thank you, Mr. Sanctuary. Yeah, first in time you can find that information there. Hello, Epic Movement. How are you? You need to start your citizenship application and file for your mama. You see, grandma is there for you. Ah, no, ni mommy. Oh, no, ni mommy. I want no, ni mommy. I'm gonna suit. I'm gonna I'm not. I kid you not. I'm not even kidding you. I can never forget that day when Chineke came to my house. You just okay, there's something about this. My mom's a born. Like you know, those kind of one where you would in my lap plate me. I know, and she would put the rich in it. For instance, that's what I ate last night. And you know when there's some food you eat and you will just fall asleep at the dining table. Listen, ask my mom. I love to eat. I love it. I don't play with my food. Mm-mm. Don't joke. Especially swallow. I eat swallow for breakfast. Who else enjoys cold eba and hot soup? Don't even play with me. You know, when you eat, panla and shrimp and goat meat and ejakika. What is that? Dry fish. Dry fish or ejakika. I'm telling you, I mean, so financially you can make igusi for your nephew. That's okay. Let me go worry. A lot more number lay. That's okay. Thanks for joining me, Solechi. Grandma making world best of one. Gonna file for this citizenship will set news. They told Miss one weekend. Are you serious? What's she gonna do? She needs to be in status though, because she needs to be in status to benefit from the green card filing, like convert to like F1 or something. Oh boy, a shame, Miss Pam. Have another trip month. Really, really. Okay. So well, I will talk. Find a Shandy. I got an email from USCIS that I-485 case was approved 6 months ago, but card never received. When I tracked the receipt number, the case never changed or approved online. So what's your question? It's based on USCIS error. You have to file for a replacement, and you don't have to pay a filing fee. If you go on the I-765 page, there's instruction on how to file for replacement. And there's also a part on the form that you can select. Let me even pull it up. I'm not sure. I think you can. I think there is. Hold on one second. Because I know that with VAR cases, because I had there was one time under the Biden administration where I don't know who they employed in the VAR office. That person decided that everyone that's from Nigeria was going to be from Niger. So the I and A, they was just relevant to them. I was like, people eat? And it was not our area, which was really, really good for me. I was like, okay, I hope it wasn't one of my paralegals doing this. And so with the VAR cases, though, what I just did was because we could email them easily then. Yeah, so you can do replacement. You just select option 1B, correction, replacement. Okay, no. So you don't even need to use the form. Does not require a new I-765 and filing fee. Refer to replacement. So you just, if you go on the 765 page, it will give you, there's a specific address that you can mail your card to, but you have to send in that card with the error. So that's what you're going to need to do. School is in session. Even in May, Miss Eleanor Sanctuary, in May, you guys are still in school? Like, well, Vanishani, our condition near our motor and school. Okay, and then baby, our condition have kids in school. So we're not out of school until middle of May. So when in May are you talking about? Good evening, Sister. This is a man receive your okay. I'm glad. Okay, yeah, I responded to your email earlier on. There's no prosecutor arrest my case. Your sister does code. There's nothing like cold ever in the morning. I'm telling you. Don't sweat it. I cannot deny will have you staggering to find your bed. I'm telling you. You just fall asleep like, it will just sit in your stomach like, okay, well, let me just sit down here. Let me just stretch my legs. That's usually how my brain works. Okay, let me just put something on my phone and watch it for a little bit. The next thing tomorrow is already 1:30 a.m. Like, okay. And they eat soup and powder for dinner. I never make it to my bed. You've got to take a post dinner nap. I mean, unless you're eating half of it, you've got to. How do I file for my parents while in the military? Once you become a citizen, you've got to become. You can't. You've been in the military doesn't give you it doesn't make you eligible to file for your parents. What makes you the benefit of being in the military is you being able to file for citizenship. Then when you become a citizen, you file for your parents. She turned down other jobs that told her they would look into filing it for her because they told her that she is trying to figure. Is she able to? When does the current one expire? Because she would have 60 days grace period if she's able to transfer to get another H-1B job, but most likely she's going to have to do look for a cap exempt employer. Ugh. My kids turned 14 here and they've never been fingerprinted. We have a final hearing for our asylum case in 2027. So what's your question? Okay. Alrighty. Okay, let's see. At the time of the memorandum of understanding, she was physically present in Nigeria during the court proceedings. Was physically present, and lawyer was her. And after 90 days, she was given the certified. I'll leave that up to you, Mr. Peter. Hello, Pastor Isaac. How are you? Hello, Ms. Olabisi. How are you? After you receive a criminal case, can you take up a marriage case for the embassy slave today? No, because I don't. If I don't start a case from the beginning, I don't take on an NVC case. No, I don't. And unless I'm able to do a FOIA request and review your entire file, but I just don't pick up from there, especially when it involves things like that. No. If it was a divorce, what she did here, that was straightforward. That's different. Okay, but I mean, hopefully that everything checks out fine. Yeah. Okay. All right, so we're going to be done. Can someone overstay still allowed to file spouse visa? Can someone who overstayed still allowed to file spousal visa staying in the U.S. as long as you came in legally and you're married to a citizen? As a citizen, how can I invite my siblings to the United States? You can invite them to come visit. They would have to apply for visitor visas. Or interview waivers mainly for only cases filed before. Even cases filed before 2025 are being scheduled for interviews. Not about when you filed, it's about the new policy of them bringing in everybody for interviews. Filed bar January 26, still haven't received receipt notice. Is that normal? Yes, because that's what, or can I, there's no need to reapply. We're seeing up to 60-day. So January 26, you just passed that 60-day mark. As long as you filed everything correctly, you should be getting your receipt notices any day now. Hello, Mr. Akim. How are you? Okay. Married but filed separately, can I still file for citizenship without issue? I can't tell you whether you can file for citizenship without issue without knowing anything about your background. I heard that they want to cancel Social Security and work permit for immigrants. Is this true? That's one of the stuff that I was saying that I have some updates, but I haven't confirmed it. And this is just the very, very vague information. It's not like they want to cancel for immigrants. They want to cancel for those who don't have any basis to be here or people who have criminal records. I don't know how that's going to play out. So that's why I said, there's some things that are updates, but I haven't confirmed that yet. So I can't, that is just still something that is, I don't have full information about that. Let me put it that way. Okay. All right, everybody. It's, I'm hopeful that when we come together, this information is usually helpful for people. It's not intended to be legal advice. It's just intended to help, to give you information. And if it helps you one way or the other, then, my job here is done. But in all of this is just me as a human being talking, because the person and the person or the creator who has the final say is God. God has the final say in all that we do, all that concerns us. He makes it perfect. So whatever policies, orders, trying to see. Bible says our prayer is that he would disappoint the devices of the crafty, that their hands would not be able to perform their enterprise, meaning whatever the plan of the enemy is concerning you, God will frustrate their plan, that it will be miserable and they will be miserable and it will be impossible for them to carry out that plan. As long as you continue to let faith lead and fear take a back seat, God is going to continue to frustrate any plan of the enemy that is formed to bring us down or to frustrate us or to derail us. But we can be derailed. So, but the thing is, we can't operate in fear either. We've got to keep operating under faith, because that's the currency God understands. And as long as we know and trust him, each day you wake up and you get on your knees and say, God, it's in your hands. Go before me today. Be with me. Come behind me. Every direction that I look, let me find you. Surround me with your edge of fire. Permanently protect all that concerns me. Speak on my behalf. Let favor go before me. Just decree that and see how God shows up for you and your household in spite of everything that is going on. So let's just keep being hopeful. Let's stay prayerful. The most important thing is praying. Prayer moves mountains. Prayer is the most powerful weapon you can ever fight with. And as long as that is your weapon each and every day, it shall work out good in your favor at the end of it. I'll see you guys next week.